Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. You still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions? This story does not...
We have got news that is so big, it is probably the biggest news I've ever covered. If you go back 10 years ago, I would say that maybe once a year because things would get progressively crazier. The last few years, I say it every couple months. I routinely say this is some of the biggest news, but this, other than 9/11 being an inside job and what that means, that criminals run the government that work with Al-Qaeda, that's now out in the open, but we're told that war is over, move along, Homeland Security's for the American people, returning veterans. This piece of news, confirmed, double vetted by Paul Watson, because I wanted to believe this wasn't true, but it's on the official GovTrack sites. It was first leaked. Now it's hidden in plain view. This is so big. Now, we already know this. We already knew this. I've been to the urban warfare drills. I'd already observed it. I didn't need the government and media to tell me what I already knew. And I had the John Warren Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, the Enemy Commissions Act, all of it. The Model States Health Emergency Powers Act, the Emergency Centers Establishment Act, the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program, the massive ramping up the last few years for internment specialists domestically, those public ads. I'm getting big chills right now. This morning when Watson sent me this document and we went and checked it and confirmed and checked it in the Army registry that it is indeed a document that was marked classified and has now been leaked, and that it's on major GovTrack sites and contractor sites and it's confirmed, and ties in with the other FM 3-39.40. It's just absolute confirmation. I want to just stop the presses right here. I want to just get everybody's attention, everybody to listen to me very, very carefully. A decade ago, maybe once a year, I would get on air and say, this is the biggest news I've ever covered. I remember coming back in '99 from an urban warfare drill in Oakland where I witnessed Marines and foreign troops practice taking over Oakland and San Francisco and confiscating guns. And I came back with the video and I said, this is the biggest news I've ever brought you. During Katrina in 2005, I said the fact that they sent regular big army in with National Guard to confiscate guns, and they announced it on the news, this is the biggest news we've ever reported when it comes to our liberties in this country. 9/11, of course, up until 2001. I said, this is the biggest event ever. It'll be used to take our liberties, and you watch, it'll then be flipped from Al-Qaeda to the American people. That's now happened. There have been many of these benchmarks, but the article at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, breaking today, in the last 30 minutes, is staggering in its import. So I don't want to just cover this and then move on to the next thing. This confirms and validates everything that I have researched and seen in the last 17 years of deep focus. There is a giant underground semi-covert program to build a series of prison internment facilities at mothballed and current military bases, as well as sports stadiums, Walmart distribution centers, that's on record, and mothballed private prisons they've built. We already have the biggest prison population in the world, over 7 million. That's double what China with 1,300,000,000 has. We're not just number one, we're number one by light years. And it's going to get worse. They are announcing arresting people for nothing and disappearing into a black hole. You know about the NDAA, the secret arrest and disappearance of citizens. First, people denied that was in the bill. Then it was admitted. Then Obama said he's going to veto it. I told you he wouldn't. Turned out he demanded it. He was just doing that so opposition wouldn't form. Then he said, don't worry, I won't use the power. Now he says he will. That is a criminal government, 100%. And police and military, before I get to this new news, you have a decision to make. I can open the phones up for police right now, and they will call in and say, yes, we train with the military, and yes, the military gets in plain clothes, generally, you know, just police jackets that just say police, and help us raid high-threat targets, mainly gun shop dealers, gun shop owners, veterans, people like that. Land rights people, folks like the man who had the little chicken farm up in Roswell, Georgia, and our intel is, and it fits in that Brigade Homeland was there and did kill him. Why not? Delta Force was used to kill the Davidians. Machine gun them. The flare footage was released. Let me just stop there and give you the big news. The point is that we have the Emergency Centers Establishment Act. We have the John Warner Defense Authorization Act. We have the Enemy Combatant Designation. We have the NDAA. Write these down. Look these up. This is real. Don't sit there and say, oh, I heard a rumor on Alex Jones. I'm giving you absolute proof. Okay? The Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program started in the 80s, declassified in 97 by Clinton. Because he was proud of it. They had, well, a dozen bases, and they opened a dozen more. They had Army running state and federal prisoners just to train them how to run a prison on bases. But this was secret. There were, and still are, it's expanded, prisoners under Army control, civilian prisoners, and they could keep it secret from the early 80s under Rex 84 until 1997. Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program. I sent all this to Glenn Beck. He was going to do a show on it. Fox told him no. So he had those Judas Goat, Benedict Arnold, arch traitors, Popular Mechanics on, looking like total slime. I mean, they're not even good liars. Sitting there like Sylvester with a canary in their mouth, lying to people and saying camps don't exist and building straw men and showing camps that I waited till the morning, and they hadn't even done promos, and I said, I know what they're going to do. I told my crew months before, when Beck was hyping it, I said they're going to go to well-known debunked FEMA sites that we've exposed to debunk. And I said it that day, and they did it. I know the mind of the enemy. I live this. I know what's going to happen. Now, I had police and military calling in yesterday, and I would ask them, hey, you work with the military and warrant service? Yeah, we do. You know, and they're like, you're not really supposed to talk about that. That's illegal. That's illegal. That's why it's kept secret. The issue is there's a giant shadow government that now has been building this up and training and getting it ready for decades. Really since the 70s. Heated up in the 80s, accelerated in the 90s, and now it is in full train. You saw all those videos of tanks all over the country. Big mile-long, 2-mile-long trains with Bradley fighting vehicles and other vehicles being delivered with woodland and grassland camo paint jobs for the U.S. all over the country. Desert to the southwest, camo to Michigan. And they are caching these at secret backup points, not the local armory, which they know citizens may take. They are caching them and preparing for war. And you've heard the military on this show. When they just talk about secession in the Texas legislature, they were on alert in Oklahoma and Tennessee and Louisiana and New Mexico to invade the Texas. You're like, oh, yeah, right. Oh, you didn't remember last year when the unanimous House said you can't grab people's genitals, TSA? What'd the feds say? We're going to run a blockade. And the Speaker of the House said, what does that entail? We'll put fighter jets in the air. We will shoot down aircraft that enter the state of Texas. See? We're not in Kansas anymore. Perry, just to get political points, says we may have to have secession. The legislature talks about it. We have it in treaty rights, Lone Star State. Not really the only state that has that, though. New Hampshire and others have right to revolt as well and right to secede. They really all do, but stated in the founding. And the voluntary entry by the treaty, by the country of Texas. My forebears created with many of your forebears. And they said, listen, we're going to put F-16s in the air. We're going to militarily blockade you. This was Civil War. That's how the Civil War started. Okay, this is real. This is real. And let me tell you what they're going to do when we get back. They're planning to roll this out. They're planning to come arrest me. They're planning to arrest Ron Paul, G. Edward Griffin, Gerald Celente, Joel Skousen, George Norrie, Glenn Beck, Matt Drudge. I'm not joking. Leaked U.S. Army document outlines plan for re-education camps in America, a political dissonance. It's the top story at Infowars.com. Leaked U.S. Army document outlines plan for re-education camps in America. Well, what do you see in the KSLA TV piece about the clergy response team? They say, we work with the military that during martial law, you'll do what's required of you and submit in the camp and take your forced inoculations and turn your guns in and let your children be sent to another center. And they practice picking your kids up at the school, FEMA does, and taking them away and not telling you where they go. This is all part of the martial law system. That's why when somebody sees a gun, they lock down half the town where you live all the time. It's about training you to be a prisoner. TSA, it's all prisoner training. That's what happens when you get to a prison, is they do what the TSA does. It's prisoner induction. Leaked U.S. Army document outlines plan for re-education camps in America. You want to see what it looks like in an urban warfare drill, you can watch my film, Police State 2000, or in the film that came out 4 years ago, Children of Men, when they're taking people into the camp processing area on the buses. That's exactly what Abu Ghraib and others look like. And the training they do over there, they admit, is for here. And they grab your wife, they grab your kids, and they got people working in these things that like to rape kids. Remember, that's in the Army's own report on Abu Ghraib and other camps. Raping of children with battery acid. Look it up. I'm not joking. Continue. Leaked U.S. That's Jeffrey Dahmer. That's what the good guys do now. It's not the general military. It's special perv units. Leaked U.S. Army document outlines plan for re-education camps in America. Political activists would be pacified to sympathize with the government. This is a leaked U.S. Army document prepared for the Department of Defense, contains shocking plans for political activists to be pacified. We're going to put that PDF on screen now. Again, leaked U.S. Army document prepared for the Department of Defense contains shocking plans for political activists to be pacified by PSYOP officers, psychological warfare officers, into developing an appreciation of U.S. policies. This is domestically, it goes on to say. Now, that's teaching them how to have Stockholm Syndrome, enjoy their masters, and most cowards do. They do a mind flip where they actually believe it. Thank you for torturing me. Thank you for putting me in a labor camp. I understand my children need to be kept in another area, and then the other minions in the camp will tattle on you and things, creating a psychology that they have power and watch you be drug away and tortured because they heard you talk bad. And they'll actually start smiling and kissing the rear end of the abusers. And this is what America is now. This happens in every other country. This is the Gulag, Archipelago. This is what Alexander Solzhenitsyn talked about. You want to be slaves? You got it. This is what you want. This is what you get. This is what you want. This is what you get. In fact, let's come back with the theme song of Hardware. I think it's called The Order of Death. It's the name of the band. Let's try to find that. Thank you. Oh, let me continue. This is at Infowars.com. It should be the #1 story in America today, but you'll send it to friends and family, and they won't even go look and find out it's real. They'll just say, oh, that's not true. Oh, the NDAA isn't real. The checkpoints on the highways with the TSA isn't real. None of that's real. That's why I got so mad and started screaming at that guy yesterday who called up, and he didn't deny that he had the National Guard marching around in Minnesota on the streets to condition people. He just said that I was being biased. Oh, yeah, you bet I'm biased towards freedom. You bet I've been to dozens of urban warfare training drills and witnessed them trained to come in our houses and take our kids away from us and take our guns and beat the daylights out of us if we're lucky. You bet I'm biased against that, pal. That's why I went into a rage. Because I'm so upset about what we're going into here. And I want to turn it around. But your level of denial out there is not helping, folks.